Hello and welcome to another episode of Conscious Living that airs every Wednesday here in Vancouver on 100 FM, 100.5 CFRO in Vancouver. We've been airing for over 15 years now. My name is Marc Caron, and I am happy to be here with a gentleman I can call my friend. And it was interesting. It was about a year ago that we met as we're leading up to this really auspicious time in the work that this gentleman does around the world in regards to creating really global peace, inner peace, and the peace movement. His name is Ben Bowler, and he is from Unity.Earth. And really a little bit about Ben. Ben's the executive director of Unity.Earth, and it's a global network that works to really inspire and facilitate unity and peace. Every year at this time, they do an event, and this is where we first met as I was working to support them in their production for Unity.Earth. We kick off World Unity Week with 99 Days of Peace. And Unity.Earth is a global network which is on a mission to accelerate the realization and unity of peace on Earth and probably in the universe. But that being said, I'm just going to come in and introduce my friend Ben Bowler. Ben, it's great to have you on the program again. It's been a year since we met, and we did a program back then to share with our community the work you're doing around the world with Unity.Earth, kicking off World Unity Week in literally a week from tomorrow. So, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what, inspired you getting into this, the work that you do, because you travel the world, you work with Ambassador of Peace all over the place. You were in Dubai a little while ago. You're just in Ibiza. You're going to Japan in in September. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what got you doing this global work that you are so passionate about.
Well, Mark, it's a tough gig, but someone's got to do it, right? But just look, what inspires me? You inspire me. I mean, since we met a year ago, things have really accelerated, and it's been that kind of a year. It's been an extraordinary year in so many different ways. But yeah, we're coming up to World Unity Week again, starting Saturday, the 15th of June. And that's something that emerged through the global lockdown. So in 2020, like so many things got going when the world stopped. Isn't that interesting? We all got into our Zoom rooms, and we were carrying a great deal of momentum from the global programs and projects, events that we've been doing. Probably starting in 2012 is when we really did our first major event. It was in Chiang Mai in Thailand. And of course, that had taken a couple of years of preparing, and had been in Thailand since 2007 doing various development works on the Thai-Burma border. 2009 launched Monk for a Month, which was a spiritual immersion program into Theravada Buddhism up in northern Thailand. Amazing program, incredible abbot of Wat Sibun Roang Temple, who opened his doors to anybody who wanted to come in and experience the tradition in alignment with the Thai culture, where men are expected to join the temple at some point in their life, more than once. And, back in the day, it was women too, but they lost that bhikkhu lineage in Thailand, at least. And people are trying to restart it, which is a very good thing. We opened it up to men and women to come and do Monk for a Month up in Phang in Thailand, and put it on Facebook, Mark, and people came from all over the world. There was a real hunger for spirituality and for spiritual development. Of course, some people just really wanted to know more about Buddhism. Some people were at a crossroads in their life, but we just attracted people from all over the world. And one of the hallmarks of that program was its authenticity, deep, authentic, spiritual, cultural immersion. People would shave their eyebrows, their hair, take the robes as novice monks, walk the streets of the village, very rural village, in the morning to get their food in their bowls. Powerful experience. And I think at the heart of everything we've been involved in, ultimately, is the power of experience, firsthand experience. I mean, we can talk till we're blue in the face. We can write books, and they're important. They are important. People have to put into words, and knowledge that's experienced needs to be shared. But there ain't nothing quite like first-hand experience of that. And that's why we were inspired to then go on after Monk for a Month and create Muslim for a month in Turkey. And we looked at we looked at Morocco, we looked at Indonesia, we looked at different countries where to do this program, but we were led, and that's kind of the theme for this whole work is there's always someone shows up at the right time with the right conversation, makes the right connection, and the pathway unveils itself. So we were led to Turkey and a magnificent group of people that we were working with there, doing great work called the Fethullah Gulen movement or Hizmet. And we were on a program there in Turkey, 2010, 2011, called Muslim for a Month. We were in a Sufi lodge in Istanbul, eating with Turkish families, learning how to pray in the mosque. The high point was a spiritual pilgrimage to Rumi's mausoleum in Konya, the whirling dervishes. And Rumi has been an incredible patron for not just that program, but for Unity.Earth. We have a lot of patrons. Rumi is one of them. And that program was powerful because of agnostics and atheists and Jews and Christians and people of all different colors and stripes going and getting first-hand experience of Islam from the inside, rather than talking about it and giving your opinion about it or listening to second-hand news or third-hand news about it or someone else's experience and opinion about it. It was going taste and see for yourself. And that's really transformational. And the more we did these programs, Mark, the more we realized that underneath all of these great traditions in the world, the beating heart is there. The presence of God, the truth, the revelation exists in all of these different traditions. We then went on to create a program in Ethiopia called Rasta Roots, which was an experience into the spirituality of the Rastafarian liberty, its origins in Orthodox Ethiopian Christianity, its great figure of Haile Selassie, who gave land down in a place called Shashamani, and the Rastafarians came from all over, particularly from the Caribbean, to repatriate back to Africa as Rastafarians returning home. I mean, it's very prophetic and profound, and obviously Bob Marley and the music and the reggae and everything else that is included in that. So again, very diverse traditions. We then did one across India, a program called Mystic Express, which takes in the great traditions of Hinduism and its various forms, of Sikhism, of Sufism in Indian context, and Baha'i tradition, amazing spiritual traditions of India, which is such an explosion of spirituality, the whole history of that subcontinent. So all of these programs we were doing, Mark, and the more we did them, the more friends we made from different traditions, and the more we realized that underneath it all, you have a highly advanced, developed spiritual leaders, thinkers in all the different world traditions. And they have more in common with each other than they do with people of their own religion who may be more fundamental, more, my way or the highway, kind of protective of their space. So the more we do that, the more we realize just how much unity there is. And out of that emerged platforms like onegod.com, which we launched at the Parliament of World's Religions in Salt Lake City in 2015, which was incredible. We had Pato Banton and Antoinette Reed's daughter and Renard Shai, reggae legends coming together. We had People of the Heart, Urantia book readers, which has been an inspiration for a lot of this work, a book called the Urantia book, Urantia. Maybe we'll talk about that a little later in the talk. But the Parliament of World Religions in Salt Lake City, we launched onegod.com. Man, it was so much fun. We had people coming from everywhere to find out what was going on, and with the music and the message. Really, basically, the heart of it is to unite the tribes, bring together the tribes of humanity under the banner of an inclusive spiritual perspective, which honors the divine in all its various forms, and yet holds a connected unity that is the foundation and fundamental source of our unity, however one wants to understand it. But being connected to the source means that we are brothers and sisters in the truest spiritual sense. So that was the essence and spirituality of that. And when we got on, the ecological crisis was worsening. There were certain groups and traditions, as we know, both existing religions as well as emerging spiritual communities, for whom the word God doesn't work. Now, we knew that when we launched onegod.com. We weren't blind to that. But we nevertheless at some point realized we needed a bigger brand. We needed something that was just more open arms to everybody. And so found online a URL on GoDaddy, went there and found Unity.Earth. And as soon as I saw it, working with my colleague Derek Grimm, we knew that this was going to be the title, the brand, the name, the mothership of all the work that we were doing. So I think we found that around 2015, but we didn't. We sat on it till about 2016 and launched Unity.Earth full fledged. I mean, as a website and a brand, and eventually as a 501c3. But we launched it in 2016 at the Road to 2020 launch at the UN Tillman Chapel in New York in October 2016, which was the beginning of a series of events, a global series of events, which has taken us all around the world over the last 8 years. And now is coming to a climax in Japan in September this year in the land of the rising sun.
Wow, what a beautiful summary of the work that you've been doing. And, it's something where, you've said so much to unpack. And the first thing I want to really touch on is the connection with people who, from many different religions, and what you spoke about near the beginning, excuse me, about, the unity and the experiencing of it, to experience these things firsthand. And I think it's so important in today's world that um, we take a step back and look at why we believe what it is we do believe. Whether we're, Catholic or Protestant, or whether we Buddhist or Hindu, Islam, whatever that is, because so many of us are, born into it and raised into it versus having that experience of spirituality, let's say, or of God, or of self realization, that to go and get it. It's kind of like tasting different foods. How do you know what you like if you don't go taste different foods, right? And what works for you. And I think that's really important, because experiences, I always say, in terms of my learning and my path, it is the best teacher. You can't explain to someone what a rose smells like if they've never smelt a rose. And in what you're doing, bringing people together of all these different backgrounds, let's say, to have different experiences and to unite in community as well, because, unity is community. That's in there. And I think that it's important, where we see the need for that in today's world, every day, all the time. It's a 24/7, 365 thing, where we have to be open to find these ways to, first off, be at peace within ourselves, so that we can share peace within our local community and within the global humanity community. And, we're seeing it so much, like you talked about the what was going on in 2020 and how everything had changed over time, where so much separation and division and community was lost, to the point where we've got so much unrest in certain parts of the world right now, and so much separation, that how do we bring everybody together in a way to support, a better everyday life for everybody, for all of humanity. I think we've had this conversation before, where, the world has the knowledge, it has the wisdom, it has the resources, it has the resourcefulness. We have all these great teachers and preachers and ideologies, yet there's still so much poverty. The war that's going on in the Middle East right now, in the Ukraine and other parts of the world where there's civil unrest. Like, what's it going to take for humanity to get it and start creating that change? And I believe it starts one person at a time. And this is what I really appreciate about what you're doing with Unity.Earth and World Unity Week, because World Unity Week is not just, a week where we talk and do things. There's like a 99-day mission. So maybe we can talk about, the action, these calls to action that comes out of the work you do, because I think it's great to share what we do here. Conscious living, we have great guests and we talk about great things. And, we always look for what's the pathway, what's the call to action to take what we're speaking about and make a difference in the world.
Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you for this opportunity to share with Conscious Living community. I love your example of the rose, by the way. I think that's a really good one. I'm going to use that one. It's a good way to describe it.
Hey, I got it somewhere. You're free to use it anytime you want.
It's in the public domain.
Absolutely.
Look, I think a lot of it comes down to, you said right what you said, that it starts with us as individuals. There's no doubt about that. Unity is an inside job. And what really I mean by that is that the levels of consciousness matter an enormous amount. It doesn't matter whether somebody's in a religious tradition or outside of a religious tradition. It still matters a great deal what level of consciousness you've got. If you compare the consciousness of Rumi and St. Francis to, whether you've got a Muslim and a Christian, to say the consciousness of Islamic State and the Christian Crusades, these two are going to want to destroy and obliterate each other, whereas Rumi and St. Francis are going to quickly recognize a universal brotherhood. It's the same religious traditions, but different levels of consciousness. And I think what I want to kind of point out is
so one thing before you go any further, and I don't mean to interrupt, but when we talk about levels of consciousness, at the end of the day, beginning of the day, whatever that is, what is consciousness to you? If you were to define it or say, well, what does it mean to be conscious? And then levels of consciousness. So maybe we can just start there about what is consciousness.
Well, that's a deeply philosophical and kind of semantic question that we could have lots of fun unpacking. I think, look, consciousness ultimately is the scale of your awareness. And is it, are you just looking after me, the body? Are you just looking after your immediate family? Or are you aware of and worried about your own personal needs to the exclusion of anything else? I think, look, ultimately, you've got people like Ken Wilber, people like Don Beck, through integral theory and through spiral dynamics, that have laid out fantastic roadmaps for this, Mark, about the evolution of consciousness and the expansion of consciousness as our identity grows beyond just, what you might call the egoic or the material plane, into much more of a spiritual dimension, which includes and transcends. We still need to take care of the body. We still need to take care of the family needs. We still need to take care of our career. We still need to take care of our financial needs. These don't go away, but it's an expansive that we are part of an integrated whole, community, city, nation, planet, spiritual cosmos. And so that as consciousness expands, our idea of who we think we are and what we're a part of, what we belong to, and what our primary concern is transformed. And so if you take that example of Islamic State and the 12th century Christian Crusades, they're just so sure of their own certain truths at the exclusion of all else. They want to destroy others. Whereas Rumi and St. Francis are in unity consciousness, which recognize the oneness beyond the boundaries of religion or anything else. And so it's really about an expansiveness of identity and self-awareness. I think as that grows, our consciousness develops. But the point I really want to make is that I think many people in the conscious living community, and we have, through the evolutionary leaders and Unity.Earth community, in touch with and connected to probably a majority of our community globally, would be post-religious or beyond religion. And I think what's the important message too is, let's not fall into the same trap that religions fall into by deciding that we're right and that everybody else is wrong. Because part of the message here is that there are great revelations and gifts inside the religious traditions. Yeah, there's a lot of crap in religion. Institutional religion is necessarily self-serving. It's there to continue to perpetuate itself, and that has caused untold damage throughout history. But let's not also forget the extraordinary gifts that religion has bestowed upon history as well. And I think that's a message for us to just consider and sit with that there are gifts inside Christianity and Judaism and Islam and Hinduism and Buddhism and Sikhism and Jainism and all and the Baha'i tradition and all of these amazing spiritual traditions for us to reflect on. And so while we might be largely a spiritual but not religious community, let's not discount the religious and spiritual brothers and sisters that are out there as well. So let's learn from the mistakes by being open hearted and open minded in our approach to all of these things in history. You never know what you might learn from a deeply authentic encounter from within the cultural confines of a religious spiritual tradition. There's greatness to be found, great gifts in there. So all of that leads us to where are we now? We're coming up to World Unity Week. It's around the mid-year solstice. We have profound, deep respect for Indigenous spirituality, working with Indigenous people from Australia to the Americas to Asia, Africa, all over the world. And of course, the solstice is a very powerful time. It's that time of, it's the time when it is the longest night here in the Southern Hemisphere, and it is the longest day up in the Northern Hemisphere, where 90% of the planet lives. From a human point of view. So coming up to the solstice, there's a lot around World Unity Week, first convened in 2020, Mark, but it brings together all these different conversations and discussions and ideas and events and programs, initiatives into an interconnected whole. June 21 is World Yoga Day. June 20 is UN Refugee Day. June 21, even before it was World Yoga Day, it was World Peace and Prayer Day, initiated by Ava Lookinghorse in the 80s, Chief Ava Lookinghorse. Powerful constellation of amazing things comes together. The UN Charter was signed in 1945 on June 25th. So we celebrated the 75th anniversary in the first ever World Unity Week back in 2020. And people may or may not resonate with where the UN is today, but its intentions and its a moment of creation was a profoundly evolutionary step for the planet to set up a transnational body that would attempt to regulate and eliminate wars. We can critique it all we like, but nevertheless, it's still something that was a positive step forward for humanity. So all of these things are taking place inside a context of a sort of a 7 or 8 day period. So this year, it's 15th of June to the 22nd of June. It's World Unity Week. You can go to worldunityweek.org and find it. And there's a lot of incredible content coming in, evolutionary leaders and advanced spiritual thinkers and people who are really rethinking the design of the planet are there speaking and talking and sharing. And there's a lot of community engagement. And you've been a great advocate for this, Mark, and Hubcast. And Hubcast Media has been an incredible partner in World Unity Week these last few years. So that's coming up. But that launches the 99 Days of Peace Through Unity, which for us this year is very, very special because it builds up through June, July, August to September, and to the events that are coming around the International Day of Peace this year, around the equinox, where there is balance between the North and the South. On September 21, it is the International Day of Peace. It will be the 40th anniversary. That's an amazing length of time, 40 years. Many spiritual sort of resonances with that term, 40 years in the wilderness, 40-year journeys. So 40 years since the first celebration of the International Day of Peace, which took place in 1984 in the town center in San Francisco, organized by Pathways to Peace and our dear friend Avon Madison and her whole organization. It came together to celebrate the International Day of Peace. And so 40 years on, we're now coming together globally to celebrate it. We have pilgrimages around the world. There's a large group of us from Unity.Earth going to Japan, and people can still join us. If you look up Peace Week Japan 2024 or World Weavers Japan, you'll find it. And you can join us from Tokyo down to Mount Fuji and on to Hiroshima for the Global Peace Day broadcast with Indigenous leaders and musicians and activists and spiritual leaders coming together with the local Japanese amazing community, May Peace Prevail on Earth International, Goi Peace Foundation, Byako Shinko Kai, coming together to do this extraordinary pilgrimage, which for us, Mark, is the culmination of a 12-year journey, which began with the first U-Day festival in Chiang Mai in northern Thailand. At the end of the Mayan calendar, 21-22 December, that was our U-Day festival. We had beautiful concert at night with Pato Banton, and put on a free concert for the city of Chiang Mai. It was an awesome night. And then in the morning, we had the sunrise. We had 50 monks chanting at dawn of the new day to bring in the new day, the new era. And coming up to the culmination of that 12-year cycle, which has taken us all over the world, sacred sites and different communities, bringing together, building, beating the drum, building up to this moment for this day of peace on September 21, which will be the Unite for Peace global broadcast and activation from Hiroshima and around the world, co-produced with Hubcast Media and so many different activation points around the planet. We will be coming to you from Hiroshima. We're going to be with Kristen Hoffman and other musicians, Parzo Banton again coming as well. These are spiritually high vibe musicians on a mission to really accelerate and implement peace on Earth. So it's pretty exciting times. And the Mount Fuji is calling us to her presence or his presence. I'll have to check the agenda with our Japanese friends to really come into presence with the sacred dimension as we begin this journey into the next chapter of evolution of humanity.
Well, first off, I'm looking forward to it because we're part of it, and some of the work that I do on the side as well with with Hubcast, how we originally met, and I look forward to the wisdom that's going to be shared, this coming week as we kick off on the 15th, and I think it's also important, and I want to talk about, within the 99 days leading up to it, there's this call to action that you put out for people to kind of commit to a mission, something that they're going to do and take action during those 99 days. So maybe you can talk about that, because I believe that, it's one thing to talk about something. It's another thing to do what you say you're going to do. And it's another thing to do it intentionally in a way that, can get results that could be of service and can possibly, hopefully change the world, even if it's just one person at a time, because I believe these kind of changes happen as one person's like pollinating a flower, just one at a time. It just keeps moving and moving forward. So maybe you can talk about these, what the mission idea is in regards to these 99 days of peace.
Absolutely, brother. That's it. We got to, the important thing is to find ways for people to connect. A lot of people are already doing amazing work, right? So a lot of people are already doing amazing work. They've got the call. They've been about it. They've been putting it together. It's stunning and staggering when you put your antenna up and you see how abuzz is the field of souls who have committed to their life purpose. Sure, people might still be figuring it out. I don't know too many people have got it completely figured out yet. Even those who are living right in the middle of it are still like, I don't know what's happening next week.
Well, that's so funny you say that, because how many people, like I'm always amazed when you look at certain, what we would maybe deem or define as successful people, where they found their mission, they knew exactly what they were doing at a young age, and yet there's many others who, it becomes like a lifelong search kind of a thing where, as we get older and we start realizing what we like, what we don't like, how that happens. And I think it's important to understand and realize that, part of life is, it's a journey versus a destination. Right.
Well, you bet. That's absolutely right, Mark. And, that's people who are doing the good work. Part of the intention here is to connect the community. And I got to acknowledge John Raymer, who's done an amazing job of building out platforms like One World, which you can find at oneworld.earth. And that's a mighty network where anybody can come and join. You can share your mission. You can declare your mission. You can find other like-minded co-creators. It's an incredibly empowered space. There's a few thousand people in there buzzing now in oneworld.earth. You can look it up and find it and find us. So, that's a place through the 99 days where you can declare your mission. And we're inviting everybody to say, let's declare a 99-day mission or 90-day mission, whatever suits you, during that period of time to get something done. Now, for some people, that might be, I want to do this event. I want to do this. For us, it's the broadcast on September 21. For other people, they want to finish their book. For other people, they want to land this event. So whatever your mission is, some people are going vegan for 99 days. There's no limits to what you want to do during this period. It's totally open. But the beauty of it is when we come together in a group and declare these missions, we find others that we can resonate with, connect with, collaborate with, radically collaborate with. And it's happening. There's something happening. And that really is the underlining message of everything that we're building up to, Mark, as we're here on the eve of World Unity Week 5, and we're getting ready for the 99 Days of Peace through Unity. This will be the third time, and we're building up to the International Day of Peace, which will be the 40th anniversary of the first celebration. All of these cycles, the 11 Days of Global Unity in September, Rick Ulfik and We the World will be there, I think, their 18th, 19th, 20th time that they've been doing it. So this is very, very, 21st time, I think, that they've been doing it, 20th anniversary. There's a lot that's coming together. This is a super convergence. And we're looking to bring you in, everybody who's listening to this, find a way to connect. You know, World Unity Week, oneworld.earth, unity.earth, theholomovement.net. There are many ways for you to find us.
Well, it's like a
and for us to find
smorgasbord.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a smorgasbord of different groups to find, the like-minded kindred spirits that you resonate with, and subject matter that you resonate with, and music that you resonate with. And I think, you know, what you know, success, let's say, lack of a better word, is a team sport. And it's important to have, the peer support to for your missions. When you're doing things completely solo, it can be a challenging process. But when you're working with like-minded people and visionaries who, coach and lead and inspire, that you can, pitch and catch with ideas and suggestions and get feedback, I think these are really important parts of the process as well, because it gives us an opportunity to get some different ideas, to do things differently, to expand and grow. And when you talk about consciousness and awareness, as we increase our awareness, as we increase our consciousness, as we, learn and understand more and see different people's perceptions and learn from their experiences, I think it really makes a difference. And it takes a community, like, the old saying, when you, especially when you talk about, indigenous people and, throughout history, and we don't see this as much anymore, but it's the community that raises the children. It's the community that works together so that everybody can have different aspects. Not everybody's going to be a great shoemaker or a housemaker or a carpenter or a cook, but when we work together, we bring our skills and our passions in a way that many hands make light work. And it's just something that I always know is really important. And there's a lot of people out there who aren't great at asking for help. And I think it's important that, when we need help in certain areas of life, to really ask for it and reach out, because it can really make a difference when you have someone who can hold the space and listen and not judge, and kind of, ask some good questions and lead in a way that is not about a hierarchical leadership, but an inspiring way to, to rather be pulled than versus being pushed towards whatever it is you wish to accomplish. And, I think we both agree that we all really, want and desire love more than anything, because I think that's really what it comes down to. When people are loving and caring and supportive, and we get out of our own kind of ego way, life changes considerably and immediately.
absolutely. Beautifully said, Mark. And it's a two-way street. People are out there doing amazing stuff. We want to connect with them and find out what they're up to as well. So this is really about how do we connect together and grow this organism, this social sphere of influence, this force of influence on the planet. It's happening. And we're looking forward to connecting to the audience here from Conscious Living, to come and share with us what you're up to, and also to find out all the amazing things that are going on in the field. It's endless. And I want to shout out here to the musicians, because the musicians are such a fundamental part of what's unfolding on the planet. Incredible transformational musicians, people who have foregone commercial success to give their incredible gifts in service to this moment of awakening. It's much, much, much more than a movement. This is a moment of planetary awakening. And Kristen Hoffman, Gary Melkin, Tatiana Speed, Pato Banton, Antoinette Root's daughter, Rocky DeWooney, Theta Phoenix. I mean, there are so many incredible musicians in this community that have, given Omar Shah with the Global Peace Tribe. There are so many that have given their heart and soul to support this awakening, and that's a really important model of how we can, use our gifts to be in service to the whole field that's awakening at this time. So yeah, whatever your thing is, you might be a business person. We need conscious business. You might be an artist. You might be a healer. These are the roles of the new Earth culture. And we're looking for people to come together and find ways to connect and reconnect and be in a supportive environment. It's hard when you're on your own, like Marc just said. But there's an opportunity here to come and be a part of that awakening, emerging new Earth culture and find your place and your gifts and your sustenance, and the reciprocity of that, of how do we sustain ourselves when we are healers, when we are artists, when we are musicians. These are challenges. We come together in a community to support the field and be part of the emergence of a new way of being on Earth that's going to support and nurture all of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got me thinking of the good old mycelial network that connects all things, all nature, really all human beings in that sense. And I saw that, and it's kind of one of those things where, I think of that concept, and belief of, 6 degrees of separation, that we're 6 handshakes away from knowing everybody, on the planet in that sense. And, I kind of saw that when I started working with you the other day, or sorry, last year, when, I'm coming in and people are coming into the broadcast, and I'm working with them, and I'm meeting some of these great, authors and leaders such as Jude Caravan and Neil Donald Walsh are the top two that come to mind, who are actually on our program as well before. And, to come full circle with these people in a different, venue, in a different part of this mycelial network, and to see their work in a different way was really quite inspiring. And it's one of those ways that I knew that, I was exactly where I supposed to be, to continue to learn and grow and connect and share this wisdom around the world. And the one thing I want to put out to anybody, if you're watching the Conscious Living radio, if you're listening, watching any part of this network, and anybody throughout the Unity.Earth, anybody watching this anywhere, come and join us. And most importantly, bring a friend, or bring 2 friends, or bring 3 friends. Bring as many friends as you'd like, because, if I'm not mistaken, there's still no cost to this at all. It's a free opportunity to join. And I think it's important that when we're inspired and we're moved and we're touched to make a difference, that we kind of create a positive contagion, so that, other people get inspired and realize, oh my God, I'm not alone. There's other people out there who think this way, and I don't have to be ridiculed. And I think that when people know that they have that, let again, community becomes the word, unity through community, that we have an ability to make a difference. And the music, I think if you come for nothing else, come for some of the music, because the music is fantastic. And I also believe, and we were talking about this with Theta Phoenix last week in our program, music is kind of a, call it the gateway drug into opening and transformation, because it's what brings people together. When people are listening to music, when people are dancing, when people are moving. And this is something that I learned in the personal development world, was this whole concept of matching and mirroring, ironically enough, is when we do the same things as others. We use the same body language. We're listening to the same music. We're dancing. We're sharing energy in a different way. It connects us beyond an intellectual concept. There's this vibrational connection where we vibrated in the same field, and that creates a rapport and a unity. And music is just one of those really powerful modalities to create change and connect people, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, music is our greatest asset, our greatest instrument. Because we started talking, Marc, about personal experience, And there's something like you just well said then, the personal experience of music bypasses the mind, which gets us into so much trouble. It's a good tool and we need it and we love it. But sometimes the mind just ends up, we get hung up on our words and our concepts and our thoughts, and we end up defending our positions again. Before you know it, we're entrenched. So, the music just takes us all on a collective journey into the melodies and the rhythms of soul, the spirit, and the cosmos, and the moment, and brings us into the moment. And it's there in the heart. The heart knows unity. The
Mm.
mind can strive for it, and the mind can strive for it, or the mind can equally be a barrier to unity, but the heart knows. And this is what the Sufi tradition celebrates in the whirling of Rumi and all of the saints from all of the mystics from all of the traditions. The heart knows unity as a reality, as a truth, as a higher order of being, without any justification, without any need to explain. And music can take us all there together. And when we have a shared experience of a transcendental musical experience, and everyone's got their own proclivities, what you like, but when we have a shared experience of that in a spiritual context and container, it is transformational, and it carries us through the oceans of awareness to the shores of a new land where we arrive together in a new place. It transports us. And so
Mm.
music is not just entertainment. It's not just performance. It's not just diversion. It is, in some sense, the truest, most transformational technology we have. And I use that word, cautiously, but the idea that music as an art that is also a science can take us to a new land is something that's very much at the heart of our whole work and theory of change.
Well, and when we look throughout recorded history and, you know, even beyond, music has always been a part of Aboriginal traditions, from something as simple as the drum, the beat of the drum, the beat of the heart, that synchronicity. And, I'm seeing so much happening in the world right now. And our friend Michael Krauss is doing a great event as well for drumming for peace and things of that nature. But it's to really connect with music in that way, and something as simple as a drum. If you've never been part of a drum circle, I recommend, get out of your head into your heart and start beating that drum. The flute is very transcendental, and you see that throughout history as well. And the different musics are, like you say, it doesn't have to be complex, and it's not just for entertainment. It can be as simple as just playing an instrument from your heart. And I encourage anybody, if you haven't really done so and you've been thinking about it, pick up an instrument, find out what you might, actually enjoy, and see if there's something that you can contribute to, your own musical prowess. Because I think that, something as simple as that heartbeat of the drum, and we see that through indigenous cultures throughout history around the world, that really, makes a difference. And music is a great gateway. And you also said something, Ben, I thought was really important about getting stuck in your head and the importance of being in your heart. The three components, mind, body, spirit. We can have all the education that we want in the world. That's easy, but then we're in our head a lot. But we're not always in our heart, and we're protecting it. But the heart can open up so many different things. And I happen to believe that when we lead our knowledge and our intellect with our heart is where true wisdom really comes from. And putting, each person we come in contact with, and, put their best interests at heart, not yours. How can I serve this person? What's the best thing I can do in terms of my words and my actions, and how I show up? Is to, leave people better than you found them, or at least neutral, just not worse. And I think it's a really important thing that we all need to, if we all did that, even a little bit more every day, the world would be a better place that much faster. And we're seeing it change. It is changing. There's no question.
Absolutely. I think we've talked about a tipping point for a long time, Mark. We're there. Some people say we're past the tipping point, and it certainly feels like that. There's a runaway momentum now. The emergence of the holo movement, all the beautiful things that are unfolding at the the wave of the evolutionary wave of humanity, the incredible work that's been done in the healing arts and sciences, people
Mm.
like Joe Dispenza and Lynn McTaggart, and right on the edge of our understanding of the relationship between consciousness, healing the body, um, prayer, the power of prayer and intention, the power of our will at a spiritual level. It's so extraordinary that we are, given the keys to create the earth that we want to be and live in, and that for future generations we want this planet to be and live in. It's not like this. We don't want there to be wars and antagonisms and constant battles and fighting and blue versus red, tearing each other apart, tearing each other down. That's falling away, and the new structures of a new consciousness of what's been called a new earth is coming through based upon righteousness and right relationship, based upon awareness of ourselves as divine beings in relationship to the cosmos, based upon the whole community of life, seen and unseen, the glorious biological life on this planet, the unseen spiritual cosmos that we know is just as real, if not in some ways far more real than our own material perceptions.
No,
So this is
well,
a moment.
yeah, yeah. That whole, and I think this is something that changed over time. This consumeristic, materialistic attitude towards things. Um, where there's just that, we're human beings, we're not human doings. And I think, we still have to do, but let's do it from a state of beingness and being present in the now versus, living in the past and with stress and trauma. And sometimes it's easier said than done, and that's part of the journey. But it's important to really have that beingness. And, I always encourage people to, see if you can consume less, use less plastics, be more, get down to nature more, because I think that there's, a huge connection between spirituality and nature, where we can learn a lot from nature and how that works. And there's so much beyond what we can perceive in our basic senses in the 3D world, that when we open ourselves up to that, we have a completely different view of life, right?
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Love it. Beautiful. Well, look, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to sit down with conscious living and the community. It's really a blessing and a privilege to be with you and everybody here. We invite everybody to come in to World Unity Week and to be a part of, connecting and launching the 99 Days of Peace through Unity. Join us in oneworld.earth, ONEWORLD.earth. And find your tribe, connect your missions, your communities, declare your mission. It's all, there's something happening. That's
There
going to be our
certainly
catch cry.
is.
There's
Yes, there
something
is
happening.
something happening.
There's something happening,
Yep.
brother. And thank you. And yeah, as Teilhard de Chardin said, we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So on that note, Marc, I want to thank you. And I look forward to the journey to come. It's only not even been a year, brother, since we met. So watch out.
I
The next
know.
3 4 months are going to be wild.
Going to be incredible. Well, we begin dancing the dream with World Unity Week, June 15th to 22nd. It's a global event. Everybody's welcome. And we invite you to join us. Visit Unity.Earth. And you can check out our website, consciouslivingradio.org. You can see us on the interwebs everywhere. And we're just grateful for everyone out there in the world doing the work, to really make the world a better place for all of us. You've been listening to Conscious Living here on 100.5 FM in Vancouver. Until next time, thank you, Ben Bowler. Always a pleasure to share a great conversation with you.
Much love, brother. Thank you for that love and gratitude. You have a wonderful afternoon. Go and enjoy the sunshine out there in Surrey.
Absolutely.
In BC.
Take care, my friend. Bye now.
God bless. All righty. Can I talk? That was great, Marc. Hi, Liam. How are you, man? I'm going to jump in the shower.